Hi, and welcome to episode 26 of Talking Small Press Comics with Steve Keeter and me, Larned Justin. And we have an added treat right before we get going with the comics. The greatest guitar player in the history of small press comics, which is Steve, is going to play us a special tune. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I might play a verse or two, but
okay.
I wrote this song. There's a song I wrote a long time ago when Tim Cardigan used to come visit me every summer. He would come and stay for a while in Florida, and actually it was in the winter because it was really cold up there in Rochester, New York, and it was much more comfortable down here. So he'd come by, and usually he ended up not staying with me, but staying in a tent in the woods, which is interesting. He found some people, and he worked in the winter here, and he would come by the house, and we would draw comics and stuff together, and had a lot of great conversations. But he published Small Press Comics Explosion at the time. That's SPCE.
Right.
And I wrote this song. I'm not going to play the entire song, but I might play just a little bit of it, just to give you an idea what it was like in those days. Well, I started drawing when I was a youngin', and I had a lot of things to say. And I started doing comics, and I mailed them out, and I'm doing it to this day. Drawing all kinds of pictures in my funny books. I always did it all for free. I pay a lot of money just to get my pictures on the cover of his PCE. His PCE, wanna see my pictures on the cover. Just one time, won't ask for another. Wanna see my characters on the cover of his PCE. Cover of his PCE. I knew a guy named Timmy liked superhero comics. He published one by that name. And I know they made you think of Lee and Kirby, but you know it just wasn't the same. So they sure were great, and they made you think, well, some more I'd really like to see. But he caught some heat from Marvel and DC. Now he's publishing his PCE. His PCE, wanna see my pictures on the cover. Ian Shires can't touch his mother. Wanna see my scribbles placed on the cover of his PCE. The cover of his PCE. Haven't played this in a while, folks. Excuse me, I'm a little rusty on the guitar. Well, I work for a printer, and I know a winner when I printed on my printing machine. And I ran a lot of comics on my two-color press. I seen everything there is to see. And I got posit from my pal Jim Maney, don't advertise on TV. Cause you can't sell a small press comic with an ad unless you're running in his PCE. His PCE, wanna see my pictures on the cover. Gonna sell 5 copies to my brother. Gonna buy up full-page space on the cover of his PCE. The cover of his PCE. Can you handle one more verse?
Oh, yeah, one more verse. Go ahead. One more time.
Well, I've been all around this small press scene for something like 50 years. And I've been writing letters to folks I've never seen, and I published for my peers. And I wrote a bunch of stuff for the direct market. They ended up in fanzines, and I ain't getting bigger, but I wrote the diggers like you read in his PCE. His PCE, wanna see my pictures on the cover. What happened to Andy Roller long time ago? Wanna see my stuff reviewed on the cover of his PCE. The cover of his PCE. You know, I really like this small press stuff.
All right. Now that's something you don't get on other shows. You may watch other YouTube shows,
No
but
extra
you're not
charge
going to get that.
Yeah.
Hmm?
No charge. We're not charging anybody extra.
No, we don't charge for that.
That was free.
That's free. Yep. Now, if anybody is still with us at all, we do have some comics to look at.
Yeah. We do have comics.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because that's kind of what we're all about.
let's see, let's take a look at Dale Martin's Watusi number 41.
There it goes.
Yep. Now this is
color cover.
yeah, this is a regular Watusi story. Sometimes Dale does ones where you finish the last panel for him, but this is not that. This is
He does a lot of
regular
jam
story.
comics.
Yeah, this is a regular story.
But this one's all Dale.
Yeah, this is all Dale. And it's rather interesting because it's kind of an eating garbage competition between Watusi the dog and Professor Harvey's machine that eats garbage.
Yeah. And there's Watusi down there.
There's Watusi.
Yeah, so he's got this friend who's a professor. And,
yeah, and there's the machine right there.
Right, he's invented a machine.
Yeah. And that's his studio you were showing there, but this is the machine right here. See that? Now the professor's been experimenting with the machine, and he can't find anybody that can eat more garbage than that machine. But he
it's called the modalizing reclavator.
Yeah, modalizing reclavator.
And it consumes all biodegradable materials, leaving
Mhm.
only recyclables behind.
Yeah,
There it is, unveiled and uncovered.
right.
Loving this art by Dale. It's really funny. And
But
Watusi's involved here. And
well, yes, because
the professor wants to test the machine.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to find anybody that can eat more garbage than the machine.
That's
He
just
didn't run into Watusi yet.
It's just he needs a machine. He needs a machine that can consume more garbage than a human being can. You know, something
Yes.
or a human being or an animal. And in this case, it's a dog. And so he challenges Watusi to help him check the machine.
Yeah.
And so this involves eating a lot of degradable materials, whatever's left over. After he runs it through the machine, goes to Watusi, and so Watusi accepts the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
He'll eat anything you put in front of him.
Yeah. If it comes to garbage, he can handle it.
Right. So he's in there.
He's eating. And then, of course, this aggravating monkey shows up who...
Yeah, there's a monkey in it that jumps in.
Yeah, he's a lab monkey. He has lab monkey that Professor Harvey has. And he tries to get involved in this deal. So you'll have to read the story to find out what happens. But if you like garbage, this is it.
That's not the comic. That's just the dog. Well, this is Dale at his very best.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really great stuff here. And so, you know, Dale gives that machine a run for its money. You can see that Dale has been, I mean, not Dale, but Watusi has been eating a lot of garbage. Look at this gigantic belly here.
Yep.
The professor's all worn out. I mean,
he's tired.
The machine just can't compete against Watusi.
No way. No way. And Dale also sent Astro Kitty.
Yeah, there's a nice back cover on this one too in color.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Color. Yep. He also sent Astro Kitty, and what's interesting is Astro Kitty was a comic shop in Lawrence, Kansas when Dale lived there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he made a story using Astro Kitty, the figure, right here. And this is a little mini, about 6-7 pages long. And of course, great artwork by Dale.
Not sure exactly what's going on here, but the cat's doing what cats do. It's sleeping. And something happens. Something happens. that transport the, well, it's something kind of cosmic. And the cat falls for a long time.
Well, he's trying to land on a planet.
He falls right in outer space. It's dark here, and it gets lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
And
he's
the
trying
one
to land on this planet without burning up through the atmosphere.
But the one universal thing, once he survives, is that cats always land on their feet.
Exactly.
Proof positive, right here.
Yep.
From Dale Martin.
So now this ends up here with him landing on the planet, but it's to be continued. So you don't get the whole. You gotta ask Dale for the next issue because this is to be continued.
Dale is such a fantastic talent. You know, we love his stuff, and it's just amazing. He's been doing all these jam comics for so many years.
Oh yeah.
And he does some great comics on his own. But he brings everybody in. He draws in the entire small press community. He'll draw a panel, not these particular issues, but he'll draw a panel, and then he leaves the rest of the panels of the story up to whoever wants to contribute. And
it's a lot of fun. I've done it. I don't know if you've done it.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
yes, I have.
It's fun. I enjoy it. I always
do
try.
that too.
If he asks me, I usually try and do it. But he also said he's working on a major project. He said it's going to take some time. And part of the project are these cards.
Oh, yeah. And I got a message from him, too. And
he wants to know the writing on the back is in blue. And he wants to know which shade of blue we prefer. And he wants us to let him know by number.
Here they go.
Yeah,
and
that's the
character cards.
This is the back.
They show scenes from his comics, and on the back it describes the scene. And
it describes everything. But you see the different shades of blue. He wants to know which one you prefer. Yeah. I'm going to tell him it's number. Or I got to find it here. Number 2. I'm picking number 2. This shade.
You know, I mean. Okay, first of all, I'm colorblind, okay?
Oh, so my gosh.
I do see colors, but I don't see them exactly as everybody else does, so I have a little problem with greens and burgundy. I get them all mixed up, but that's cool.
Dale, you've picked on the wrong guy.
Picked on the wrong guy. But, you know, this is cool because the numbers of these cards, this one says collector's card number 3 of 90. There are 90 cards.
90, yeah, that's one, yeah.
Here's collector card, this one here, 60 of 90, and 90 cards, and these are amazing. These are amazing.
Beautiful cards. Yeah, look at that. I like this one.
Now, being colorblind and everything, if I had to pick one, this one has the most color in it. Is that the one you picked?
No, he's talking about the back. The back.
Oh, the back color?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even harder. Is that blue? It looks blue
yeah, he wants to know on the back. 2 is the one I picked. I think that's the one you're looking at. Yeah, number 2. That's what I would pick.
That one looks good to me, too.
Yeah. So,
Dale,
we've got the answer for you, Dale.
The colorblind people and the people who see color and everything else, we're all in agreement.
Yeah, and we're people whose opinion does not matter.
Absolutely not. No. That's why we publish this show, just like, you know, we want to get some notice. You know, we feel kind of insecure about things, you know, and that's just the way it is.
Okay, we got more.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. The fact that he has 90 cards. Dale, have you completed 90 cards, or is this a work in progress?
Maybe it's going to be 90, I think.
Yeah. But gorgeous, dude. That's really cool stuff.
So what do you think about Zombie Dave number 3?
Just happen to have it right here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
And
if you want a wild, I mean wild comic, this is it.
From our pal, Matt Decker.
Matt has outdone himself on the story on this. Holy mackerel. This issue, I mean, this will blow your mind, I'm telling you. If you can keep up with this, you are doing something. This has got everything going on that you can imagine. But you know what? The main thing is here, this is based on a card game called Murdy. I think that's how you pronounce it, Murdy. Its initials.
Murdy.
And in this issue, it does tell you what Murdy means. He puts that in this issue. Murdy means, I'll tell you, Monkey Empire Royal Dynasty Edition. Murdy. That's
there
what
you go.
the card game is that this is based on. But it's a lot to comprehend. I'm telling you.
These cards that he have, you know,
No.
they cause beings to emerge from other dimensions, like this banana guy right here.
Dale is showing you the psychic banana.
Psychic banana.
It's a psychic banana right there. And
there we go.
The magician in the story says to the psychic banana, "There, banana psychic, waves of uncovered a drumstick from the frozen poultry we used to destroy Cranium's tank." Wow. I hope you
like
were in
Dr.
the last
Strange
issue to see Cranium's tank.
If you thought the last Doctor Strange movie was out there, you ain't seen nothing.
No. This is going way beyond that.
Yeah. Matt is magnificent. He does it all. The writer, he's a writer, the pencils, the inks, the colors, everything.
Well, he doesn't do the colors. I don't think he does the colors.
No, it says in the front he does the colors.
I think.
Right there on the cover, in the front, it says inks.
Oh, did he do the colors on this one?
Says so right here. He might not have did the last issue, but he did this issue.
Okay. Well.
And you know, they're beautiful. I guess it's computer. You know.
I would think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another great line I like in here. The magician here, he's looking for a spell. It's this panel right here. He's looking for a spell that he can use against the bad guys. And he says, to find the right spell, I would need a strand of Bob Barker's hair and a hell of a lot of chicken.
Well, apparently this happens. He's managed to obtain this. This is this whole issue is a big fight. The last issue kind of led up to this.
One fight page after another.
Yeah.
Things are happening in other dimensions, going back and forth. Monsters are showing up.
The big battle issue that Kirby himself would have been envious of.
Oh yeah, you're looking there at that is the 4 o'clock sock monkey right there.
The 4 o'clock sock monkey.
Yeah.
One of the greatest villains ever.
Oh man, yeah.
But bigger than the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
He is, and
if you ever saw your Ghostbusters, that's what I'm talking about.
He's got one of the Murdy cards from the game stuck in his clock on his outfit. It says somewhere in here. So.
And you're just driving down the street. You're driving down the street in your truck, and you look up ahead, and there he is. This giant sock monkey.
Here's a big fight. Wham, wham, wham.
It's one zany comic.
And it is wild. Here we go into kind of a different dimension kind of thing. On these pages, look at these pages. Look how different they are. Yeah, look how different they are.
Yep. Just
it goes back to this type of art. It is just, I mean, it is so wild. You almost have to read it 2 or 3 times.
It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not a difficult read, you know.
No, but it's just you may miss something.
Now we have 5 issues of this. We reviewed. This is the 3rd one we reviewed. We got 2 more. We'll review it next time. You know.
Yeah, we saved 2 more for next time.
And
that includes the 5th issue. The 5th issue, which is the end of the series next time.
And we're looking forward to that. We have Cheetah Munculus here.
Yeah.
Homunculus,
Yeah.
the great ape villain who's surrounded by bananas. He has a throne made out of bananas here.
Right.
And he's
And
definitely the head bad guy. I mean, even a zombie is kind of astonished by this. You know, he's like, whoa, I've seen a lot of stuff, you know, I'm dead and stuff, but I've never seen anything like this. So that's our friend, that's Zombie Dave. Mm-hmm.
That's in the next issue, yeah. So
that's at the end of the
stick
story.
with us and you'll see that.
Yeah. I just love this artwork. I just love some of the stuff that Dale's doing here. You know, the effects and everything.
It's Matt, yeah.
Matt.
Dale was
Zombie Dave.
Yeah.
Dave didn't write it. Matt wrote it.
Yeah.
Dave's in it, though.
Yeah.
I knew he's in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Dave is in there. Yeah. He's in there.
Yeah.
Wild. Just wild. What do we got next?
There's always something next.
What's on the top of your pile?
I got Heroic. I got Jim
Heroic
here.
Jim Maine.
Yeah. This is a comic. Oh, it's not a comic. This is
a comic that's not a comic. This is a magazine.
Yeah. Using the title Heroic, which Tom Felrath and Jim Maine have shared back and forth for decades. Originally, Jim Maine published Heroic as a magazine, kind of like this, but a small press magazine at the time. Tom Felrath decided he was going to do a superhero comic. He wanted to call it Heroic, and he asked Jim for permission. Jim says, okay, you can use the title. And then he did that for a while.
He thought he wasn't going to use it anymore. It says in the book. He thought, I'll probably never use that again. And then he changed his mind.
Somewhere along the line, Jim decided, well, you know, I want to publish my version again.
They're so different.
I guess he went to Tom and told him, you know, Tom, you know, it's my turn.
Yeah. But they're so different because Tom Felrath's is a comic book, and this is more of a magazine.
Right.
Because this is, if you want to learn about, you know, well, it says on the cover, inside is detailed, I mean, very detailed articles on metal men, the Hero Alliance, and Peacemakers, which is
Peacemaker's Steve Shipley.
Steve Shipley's story, which is in here, illustrated by Steve Shipley, with an interview. Steve does an interview with Jim. Jim interviewing
great
Steve.
Stuff in here. Who drew this? There's a back cover drawing of Supergirl. This is outstanding.
John Lamb. Oh, that. Okay, I thought you meant the back cover.
Well, the inside back cover. It's almost the inside back cover. So this is the inside back cover. This is just before it, but there's a great illo there. There's a lot of great artwork in there.
I think it says Barker.
Barker?
I think.
The contents are in the front.
Let's see if it says.
Gary Barker, of course. My old pal, Gary Barker from the Ringling School of Art. I should have known. Yeah, but you know, he's such a great artist. And, you know, he's done work for me. He did the cover for the last issue of Mantra for me. Now, this is a slightly more gritty and realistic style than I've seen Gary use. No wonder this drawing really stands out. Yeah. It could have been the back cover.
Back cover is John Lambert.
John Lambert's back cover stands out as well. The Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Yep. And there to go.
Here's the thing. The inside is going to. You are going to be busy reading this. This is
there's a lot to read.
Quite a bit to read. What I'm looking at here is the Hero Alliance article. With covers of the Hero Alliance comics.
Yeah.
And quite a bit to read.
And the Hero Alliance, this also has artwork by one of our favorites, Scott McClung.
Right.
Scott McClung. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's the Hero Alliance. This is this group of great heroes. And you know, this article details their entire history. It gets into a lot of detail. Man, Scott, as usual, you outdid yourself.
Here's the
So,
Peacemakers article.
Peacemakers.
Yeah.
I got to flip back through because we're flipping back and forth and just finding so much cool stuff. You don't know where to stop.
I know it's a lot to look at. I don't see on the page count on this. 40 pages. So,
Yeah.
and filled with all kinds of stuff to read.
Here we go. Here's the cover to Peacemakers #1 by Steve Shipley. The Peacemakers having been a group of a couple of heroes, a superhero team based on his wife and himself. This would be Steve. This would be his wife Hattie. And look at you can see, well, they're madly in love, and they're also dedicated to fighting crime, fighting evil without the use of violence. Thus, they are the Peacemakers.
Yep. Look at all the covers there.
Steve says that Hattie actually came up with that idea. His wife Hattie, and we've talked to both of them. We were both members of Let's Vlog, and both of them are on there, and they're both wonderful people. And Steve, of course, we just did an
interview with Steve.
Everybody
should know who he is.
And he's still doing it. He's still doing the Peacemakers. And this is a recent picture of the group. And so, yeah, they started out in Fantascape. Steve Shipley said in the interview that he created this group, and they started in Fantascape, something that he published way back in, when was it? The 80s, I think. And but they've continued on, and it's always cool to see a new episode of the Peacemakers.
There's Metal Men, the article on Metal Men.
Metal Men. I'm flipping through again. There's a lot of stuff in this. Jim, you did a great job. You put in so much stuff that,
Yeah, and there's all the covers of Metal Men that he's included.
Carl.
So if you are a superhero fan, you got a heck of a book here to look at.
Look at this. Artwork by Carl Bonacera. And the Metal Men was a very unique group of people. Obviously, they were all made out of metal,
Yeah.
Tin, gold, etc., platinum. And, he talks about the history of the Metal Men in DC Comics and how they were around for a while, and then they were canceled for a little while, and then they came back. And anyway, it's a comic book. I read this when I was a kid in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
I knew this was something really different. They weren't your standard superhero comics.
Yeah.
These were like they were like robots, but they were cool robots. They had personalities. And platinum. Is this Tom Ahern? This looks like Tom Ahern over here. You got some great artwork with this article.
Yeah.
I think this is Tom Ahern inked by someone else.
Wow. The one that I'm not sure of.
Platinum. This is Platinum, and Platinum is a thing for the head of the group. I can't think of his name right now, but it's in the article.
Yeah.
And that was an ongoing romance that lasted for a while.
The other thing I was looking at in here was this. I guess I'm not up on this. The Captain Scarlet and the Mysterions. Was that a TV show? It's on the cover.
Yes, that's Jerry Anderson. Jerry Anderson, Captain Scarlet and the Mysterio or Mysterons, whatever it is.
Mysterions.
This is written by Thomas Wheeler, and it's very comprehensive. It has artwork by Virgil Holt Bond. And inks and colors by Mark Haynes. But here's an LO by Virgil Bond right here. But this was one of the Jerry Anderson marionette shows from the 1960s. And
I thought it was a TV show, right?
Yeah, he did Thunderbirds and a lot of other stuff. And we used to watch those shows. They were totally unique. when I was a kid in the 60s, and I would distinctly, like Saturday mornings at that time, every Saturday morning there were all these cartoons. Later, they stopped doing that, but there was only 3 or 4 networks at the time, and Saturday morning was kids' time. You get up and you go watch cartoons, and I used to watch the Thunderbirds, and the Supercar was another one, but these were Jerry Anderson marionette shows. He did these shows entirely with marionettes, with puppets. And they were amazing. The special effects were pretty cool for the time, and it's all done on a small scale, but you know, if you look at those old shows and you see these guys, they're marionettes, so they're like walking around like this, you know, because they got strings on them, you know. Yeah. But Jerry, the guys who worked for him, the production guys, apparently they really achieved a certain realism. If you look at these marionette figures, they look pretty real.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're well done.
I mean, it looks like a real person.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so they. And this article talks about that, how by this time they had refined their craft so much that the marionettes looked pretty real.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see this. I didn't see this particular series. I saw some of the other Jerry Andersons, and I was spellbound by them when I was a kid. Here's more of Verl Help Bond. Here's a scene from the show.
And in a drawing.
And the guy looks pretty real. And here's a drawing by Verl Bond, the same character.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Just
there's an action
great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you can spend a lot of time with this.
Really. When you were a kid, I mean, when you were a kid, you're watching this, you weren't fooled. You knew it was marionettes.
Oh, yeah.
They were so cool, you couldn't stop watching them.
Well, you know, if you go back far enough, Howdy Doody was the big show. He was a marionette. They were popular at that time.
Yeah.
I think Kukla, Fran, and Ollie were puppets. They were not marionettes, but yeah, all that stuff in the early days of TV.
You know, you've been around for a while. When you can remember Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, you've been around, man.
Oh, yeah. I remember it. I was a little kid. I remember it. Yep. Of course, my friend and I, we were big into puppets. We thought that was the greatest thing ever. So we liked puppets.
In the little town where I lived in Edenton, North Carolina, it was a little town 1 mile wide. I remember when I was just a kid, maybe I was a young teenager, maybe like 12 or 13 years old. I remember a marionette show came to town, and there was a McDonald's there, and they parked this carriage with it's like, you know, wagon wheels on this thing, and had a big curtain.
Really?
Curtain opened up. There was a marionette show.
Oh my gosh!
All us kids gathered around, and we watched this thing, and we were amazed because some of the puppeteers were really, really talented, and they could make these things. Just the stuff that they were doing was like human. It was like, wow, this is really cool.
That must have been a wagon with wheels. That must have been back in the 1800s. When you said
it's probably the 1800s, yeah. But I remember, because that's when I was a teenager in the 1800s. I remember that very well, that show coming to town and those marionettes.
Yeah, great.
Cool. I mean, nobody's doing this anymore.
No, there's nothing like that.
I mean, they
put up with it.
Who needs it? We got CGI and everything else.
Yeah,
but there was a charm. There was a charm to that method.
Yeah.
It's like watching some of the old stop motion photography. Kong and Ray Harryhausen and everything. Sure, we have CGI now. We can go beyond that, but there was something special about those methods.
The famous one was King Kong. I think everybody
Willis O'Brien
watched that a million times on TV.
And of course, Ray Harryhausen was his mentor was Willis O'Brien, and Mighty Joe Young was Willis O'Brien's sort of a remake of King Kong on a smaller scale, but Ray Harryhausen worked on that, and that's kind of where Ray Harryhausen got his start.
Oh.
And he took over after that. Clash of the Titans, The Valley of Gwangi, the Sinbad series, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
It all began with Willis O'Brien.
Wow, that's interesting.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah, for sure.
Us old guys can remember that.
Yeah. If our memory holds up.
As long as it does.
That's a problem. Yeah.
If you can trust us for now.
Yeah.
You start making stuff up, then you might wonder,
Well, if we make it up, these people will never know. They're not as old as we are.
That's right. Just accept it as fact. You put it in the record books. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, we got
online.
What do you want to do next here?
Well, we got Yeet. We
Yeet?
got Yeet.
So Yeet, we've got 2 Yeets to do, which is actually 4 comics. Because
Yeet, I don't know which side to show.
Yeet is 2 comics in 1. So, we got 4 comics.
You flip them over and you got 4 covers.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I wanted to say, though? We made a little mistake. We thought Yeet was monthly. We got corrected on that. Yeet is not monthly. It comes out when it comes out. It's $5 an issue.
Right. That's what Mike Jones is the guy who he's responsible for Yeet. He created Yeet, and Shane Luttrell is one of the contributors, and we hear from him, and he's keeping us informed. And he says it may not be technically monthly, but generally it does come out about once a month. That's what Shane says. He says occasionally Mike will miss it, but for the most part,
pretty much
it's around there. So that's where we got that.
I did want to mention that because I don't want to confuse anybody. So it does come out when it comes out, and it is Fowls. Our Second City Sentinels is the name of this.
This is this one.
Yeah. And what's cool about this is we find out in this issue who the Black Shadow is. The Second City Sentinels are a group of Chicago policemen that wear costumes like heroes. Yeah,
like superheroes.
They are not superheroes. They're Chicago Police Special Unit.
Yeah.
But they've had an ongoing deal here with the one guy they couldn't recognize. They call him the Black Shadow. They don't know who he is. But in this issue, you will find out who he is.
And you know what? Looking back, like at our first episode and at the issue that came before this, the story that came before, I already figured it out.
You figured out who he was?
I figured it out because apparently his glove slip or his costume slip, and one of the characters could see that he was a black man.
Yeah.
And so, and the only black man that they show other than that in the first story was at police headquarters, and the heroes are sitting and talking, and this janitor comes in, and he's an African American. And he's talking, and he's like listening to them, and and I said, that's the guy. That's him. It's got to be. And I was right. He turns out to be the janitor. I'm sorry, I just gave away the surprise of the story.
I know. I was just going to say I was going to keep that secret for the readers, but no secret anymore.
But he's the most powerful guy in the group. He's the most powerful, the most athletic,
and he's not even a policeman.
And he even has the best costume. Look at that costume. I mean, yeah. So, and
I think he's ex-military, isn't he? Ex-military.
Yeah, he's ex-military.
Yeah. So he knows what he's doing. He's just not a policeman.
He was trained as a soldier, and he's
there is a bit of a story here that he faced some challenges. They wouldn't let him really be a policeman, and that's in the story. And this takes place in 1939, so you know what it was like back then.
1939, the thing was in 1939, there was a lot more level of racism. It was a different level of racism than there is today. And so the police force of this particular group, they weren't prepared to allow a black man into the group. That's just the way it was in those days.
That's what makes this story pretty interesting. You've got that backstory here.
Yeah.
About him. So.
And a couple of the heroes decide they want to find out who he is, and they confront him. and he doesn't want to reveal his identity, and there's a battle.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there is a fist fight in there. Yeah.
it's a terrific artwork, and I don't think, it's not in the credits here. I have to look in the previous issue to see who drew this.
I forget who drew that. I forgot. I think I said it in the last year.
Yeah, it tells you in the other issue. In Yeet number 50.
Our last episode, I think we did say who did it, but
Yeet number 50. If you missed it, folks,
go back to our last episode.
Oh my gosh, it's written by Mike Jones, the founder of Yeet.
Yeah.
Art by Mark P. That's an interesting last name.
Alphabet.
Warostic, something like that. Oh, Joe Wong. Joe Wong is one of the artists too. Remember we talked about that before, that there was 2 parts and there was 2 different artists.
Right.
And Joe Wong was one of the artists. I think Joe Wong might be the one who drew.
I think he might have drawn this one.
This episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Last time it was in color. This time it's in black and white, but it's as effective as ever, nonetheless. Yeah, and it's just it's quite a great story.
Yeah.
He finally does take off the mask, and they get to know each other, and they become great friends.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the thing was, he wasn't supposed to be in because it was supposed to be a group of policemen, wearing costumes.
He's going to be one of them.
He sort of just put on a costume and just showed up and acted like he was just one of the guys, and they all accepted him, and they didn't realize this guy's not really on the police force, but they realize by now that they need him. He's the best, and they become quite a team.
Yeah. Yep.
So I love this series. It's a great
cool,
story.
The
Sentinels is a great. The Second City Sentinels.
So then we flip the book over.
Yep.
To Rouge X.
Steve and Mark Shipley. Steve Shipley, our old pal.
Guess who? Steve Shipley draws the Rouge X.
With a character who looks somewhat like the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Except she's a lady.
Yep.
Yeah, a lady with great power.
Steve Shipley artwork.
And anything Steve Shipley does is always interesting.
An action story, all kinds of action, superhero action.
Yeah. And he's the first person. He's the person who introduced me to Yeet because I hadn't heard about it before. And there came a time. And there's a lot of action in this story too.
Oh yeah.
A lot of great artwork by Steve Shipley. Steve just gets better and better over the years. He just, it's hard to believe, it's 50 some years later and he's still going strong and better than ever.
And look at this.
But he first told me about Yeet. He first told me about Yeet and all the talent that was involved. Yeah, there you go.
That's the name of that guy is Century Prime. Century Prime coming in the next issue.
Yeah. So we're up against some powerful villains and stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of female characters in this story, a lot of female superhero characters. Right. As is kind of the style these days. You see it in the Marvel movies, you see it everywhere, but there's a lot of feminine characters. They're not so feminine, they're tough.
Well, no, these guys.
How do you define a feminine? If you don't define feminine as tough, whatever. But that's up to you to decide. These are great characters and great artwork. Did you see? I just saw. By the way, I just saw the trailer for the new Black Panther movie.
Oh, no.
You remember Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther in the first movie, passed away.
I know.
And it was like, what are we going to do? We just made a Black Panther movie, and now the guy died. Mm-hmm. And instead of replacing him, they're moving on. They're moving on with the story, and it looks cool. The trailer I just saw, first of all, it features the Submariner, Namor, the Submariner. Mm-hmm. You can see him coming up out of the ocean, and he's leading legions of undersea hero or characters, maybe on the tops of whales and other aquatic beasts against mankind, and especially against the Wakandans. I just saw this thing. I just got to bring it up because it's so cool. I'm thinking, okay, that's it. Chadwick Boseman died.
Yeah.
The Black Panther's over. There's not, but it looks.
They found a way to do it, huh?
It looks like they did, and it looks like the new Black Panther. Here we go. Is going to be a female Black Panther. That's what it looks like. But in the way they play it up, though, is really exciting. All you get to see at the very end of it is the back of her costume, and she puts her hand down, and these claws come out, and you go like, yes, this is cool. This is going to work.
Yeah.
So I don't mind,
Yeah.
I'm not, that chauvinistic, as long as the thing, it's entertainment. If they're doing a great job at it, I'll go, I'll watch, I'll pay the money. Definitely. Yeah. I want to see this movie. So if Steve Shipley's character, if they make motion pictures with Steve Shipley, maybe 10 years, 20 years down the road, our characters will be in the motion pictures.
Oh, that's right.
Right, and somebody's going to pay money, and I want my part of that. I want to receive the royalties.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll back off.
Next story by Don Simpson, Ronnie Tillotson. But you know what? This artwork just reminded me of Mad Magazine.
Yeah, Don Simpson.
If you look, I'm going to show you.
Oh, yeah?
Just the way, let me do one thing here. If you look at that, remember Wally Wood's work in Mad Magazine? He always would draw all the machinery and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Doesn't that look like that kind of...
Oh, I can see that. I can see that. And I can even see it in the female form here. It looks like it looks kind of like Wally Wood.
It does look like that. And I don't think he's copying Wally Wood. I'm just saying it looks like Wally Wood.
There could be an influence there,
I think it's probably an influence, maybe not. But the artwork is fantastic in this. Really neat.
That is good. That I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it does remind me of that. Of course, I'm a big Mad Magazine fan, so everything reminds me of that. But anyway, yeah, this panel here also, if you look at the girl in this panel, that's a pose that I've seen before. It could very well be a Wally Wood type thing.
Yeah, and in the same
or
panel,
Will Elder, one of the two.
The little guy this little guy's helping her out, and he says,
he's a Rumpelstiltskin kind of guy.
There you go. He says, if you want to be let out of your contract, they have a contract, you'll have to guess my real name. And right away I thought, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
And they adopt that fairy tale to this science fiction scenario.
Yeah.
And it turned out great. So
very different.
Most excellent. But all the stuff in these Yeet comics, you got some of the best. These are people I never heard of. People I never heard of out there in the small press, waiting around to find a place where they could put their stuff. And Mike Jones put it all together. Created this.
I think some of these guys are working in pro work.
Yeah, there are some pros
in different areas, that we don't know about.
For instance.
Yeah.
And, because we also got this other one, and this is an earlier issue.
This one is really cool.
Number 33. This is from a year ago.
But what's really cool, let's look at this one. It's on newsprint, color newsprint.
Right.
And again, you look at it.
Smell good.
And you see, to me, a Mad Magazine influence. If you look at the old Mad Magazines, now they were in black and white. Reprints were sometimes in color. But look at that. And it's on newsprint, just like they were.
And this is William Messner Loebs.
Yes.
Who is a pro, and we've talked about him, and we talked about him in the last episode.
Yeah. And this is a very unusual story because this guy is a frontiersman out, out in the woods. And
Wolverine McAllister.
An orb shows up. And he is curious and gets taken up into the sky by this orb.
Uh-huh. There it is right there.
Yeah, and it took him up into the sky. It's really cool.
It does look kind of like old EC Comics, Mad Magazine.
Yeah, it does. I mean, look at this page here.
It's just beautiful artwork. I mean, it's really,
man, yeah. Great, I love it.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it is on newsprint. Which
it's on newsprint.
Because the new one, the new Yeats aren't on newsprint, but this one was, and that's very interesting. And it adds a different sort of a feel to it, a more of a classic.
Yes, it does. And he's actually the character is in the Michigan frontier, which is where I think this comic is from, Michigan, right?
Is it?
I think so.
I don't have that address right in front of me at this moment, but
yeah, I think so.
But there's somewhere. I'm way down here in Florida, so
yeah,
everything is up north from here. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's some great lighting
in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why the hot dog is there.
Ooh.
But the story.
That's from the previous story. Look at this.
Okay.
Let's go back to the previous story. Just
All
a couple of pages, and this is just nuts. Because you got someone as a girl, and she's in ropes, and she's being kidnapped by this guy. Okay, this big fat guy here. He's kidnapped her.
This is Tales of the Grand City. Oh, wait a minute.
This is by Brian Cole.
Tales of Grand City, the rental.
Right.
It's a costume rental store. You rent costumes.
Joe Wong. Okay, but the hero shows up, and here he is. His superhero costume is just
a bunny
rabbit suit.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing elaborate. It's a rabbit suit,
right.
And it turns out this guy is an old friend of him. The big fat guy is an old friend of him, but he's got like a mental problem or something, and he keeps kidnapping their high school friends or their friends. He keeps kidnapping them. He'll wrap them up. And the hero keeps showing up, but he's not a superhero. He just finds whatever costume he can find, and here he is. So he
found a hot dog. He found a hot dog costume
with mustard.
There he is.
He says, stop kidnapping my friends.
Yeah. And it hints. It just says the end with a question mark, so it hints that there will be more.
This goes on and on, apparently.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the one you were just pointing to on the next page there, Cat Demon by Jason Kruger with art by Eli Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
This one really stands out.
Yeah.
This one is superb.
Yeah. This is very cool. Yeah. He's in this jungle, and
this guy is in the jungle. He comes across a guy. He comes across a guy who's in quicksand.
Yeah.
And he's asking for help. Save me, save me, save me. But he doesn't save him. He's cold. He doesn't save the guy. He lets him drown in quicksand. And when he does, he becomes the victim of a higher power, a cat demon of sorts.
There is the higher power there showing up.
The higher power doesn't appreciate the way he's treated other people. He says, from now on, you will be forced to help whoever is in need.
Yeah, and he becomes
for your sins.
He becomes this cat
demon.
Cat demon over here.
Yep. And he's trapped.
He's becomes that. You can see it.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
This is the guy. That's what happens when you don't help other people out.
If you don't help people out of quicksand, this could happen to you.
That's it, man. That's karma, instant karma, okay?
Yeah.
So he becomes the cat demon, and after that,
He's
All
helping
kinds of
people.
stuff happens. Gosh, the artwork is just beautiful here. So much cool stuff. Look at this.
Yeah.
The textures, the color, the darkness of the panels. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really, really neat.
And so that's what happens. He goes in.
Yeah.
He goes through adventures in the jungle.
And they're after this cat demon, but right near the end there, this guy says, hey, you know, that cat demon saved my life. So, you know, don't be going after him.
Which is kind of ironic. He's stuck in a life where he's saving other people's lives.
Saves other people.
He didn't save the guy before, and now he has to save people. He has no choice. It's his curse. It's his destiny.
Yeah.
And what a cool character.
This was issue number 33, and it does say this was continued. So I don't know when it was continued, you know, what issue, but
this was in February 2020 when this one came out.
Yeah. So
thanks, Mike, for sending us a couple of extra issues. We really do appreciate that. And we both subscribed. We subscribed to Yeet. It's too good not to. I got to recommend it, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other side?
Princess Marshmallow. Right here. This is
Princess Marshmallow.
And kind of goes wordless quite a bit, you know.
There's a white bird, like a dove, well, a white dove, flying to the window. And
there's another person in a rabbit costume. I don't know.
Again.
Must be a coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't think it was planned. I think rabbit costumes are popular among superheroes. Maybe.
I think so. I think it's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
It's the latest trend.
Yeah.
Well, she becomes transformed.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes transformed.
Yeah,
here's the transformation scene here.
Yep.
Yep. Cleverly, cleverly covered so you can't see, what anything there that's, you know, you got to be careful about what you show these days. And so she becomes this Princess Marshmallow.
Yeah, kind of a dancing panel here on top, kind of. Dances across there.
Yeah. Okay. And so here she is in full costume with sort of a sword here, and at the end of the sword, there's a marshmallow right there. So, soft version of a hero.
Yeah.
She uses marshmallows to her advantage throughout the story. You'll see that as you're going on. But so she's pursuing this criminal. Yeah, you mentioned the rabbit costume. Here it is.
There it is.
Bouncing down the street in the rabbit costume.
As rabbits do.
And that's what they do. And so that makes it an authentic rabbit super villain, I guess.
Right.
So she has to handle this being, and she does it quite handily. Knocking it out of the sky, causing it to land on a giant marshmallow of her own creation.
That's where she had popped off in that. She popped off the marshmallow.
Yeah, she fell, and she put up a giant marshmallow, like a giant pillow to catch her.
Yeah. And she landed on her feet, fortunately.
Folks, she has marshmallow powers.
You remember I guess that was the Stay Puft Man? The giant Stay Puft?
Yeah, in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Marshmallow Man, yeah. Now this story does end. It doesn't say continued.
It's a happy ending. I mean, it's kind of it's manga influenced. It's definitely influenced by a Japanese style of comics.
Yeah.
But she's a happy hero, and
then
a lot
the
of fun.
Next story, Sidero, the last Earthman.
Yeah.
The last Earthman, Sidero.
Yeah, and
And
you
this
know,
is, let me give you the lineup here. This is Chris Malgrain, plot, art, and creator.
mhm.
Steve Roman, script.
I've heard
Fred
of Steve Roman.
Grivald, letters.
Mhm.
Jim Arden, graphic design. So that's a whole team working on this.
Yeah. You know, one thing I noticed. Who's the artist here?
Well, I guess it's the first guy,
Chris
Chris
Malgrain.
Malgrain.
I immediately I noticed a John Byrne influence on the artwork.
Oh, okay.
This reminds me a lot of John Byrne.
Uh-huh.
In fact, you know, I had to do a double take. I looked a couple of times and I'm going, is this John Byrne? Did John Byrne draw this? But no, he's just influenced. I mean, it's clearly an influence, and but he does it perfectly. It's not inferior in any way. It's actually outstanding. We even have a Silver Surfer like character here.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't stay, you know, looking like a Silver Surfer. It's just he goes through a transformation, and he ends up looking kind of like the Silver Surfer, but without the surfboard. And he actually goes through a metamorphosis. Yeah. There's a whole story here. I just skipped over about 6 pages to get to that point.
It's a fairly long story, and but you know, I mean, it's great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah. He ends up adopting a superhero costume just because, you know, as a kid or whatever, he read superhero costumes, and he said he didn't want to ride around naked. He didn't want people to see his private parts, you know, because you know, once he's transformed. So thus he became this hero flying. He says, was there a universe before this one? Is there life on other planets? Are we alone? He goes off to explore.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it kind of ends. Yeah.
And then
with him going off to explore.
Off into the cosmos.
And the next issue is The Depths of Despair. And again, this was February issue 33. $5.
This is a really cool character and a really cool story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know John Byrne's art, but just look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, look at the way the crosshead, whatever, the inks especially, it looks like John Byrne.
Huh. Okay.
So you can see the influence right there.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly like John Byrne, but you can see that influence, and I thought that was interesting.
That's for sure.
You know, a lot of my favorite artists were influenced by one artist or another, and you can see that in their styles. You can see a Kirby influence or a Ditko influence or whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can see it. Like I said, I kept seeing Mad Magazine influence, so
yeah. So there's always influence,
whether it's intended or not, just kind of what we've seen.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, one artist. One artist is influenced by another artist who's influenced by that artist, and on and on and on, and it goes on. And we're always creating, learning, developing, evolving as artists and creators.
We got a little bit of time left here. We have this.
Well, this one was disturbing.
We debated about this.
Yeah.
This is called Becoming a Prosthetic User. And it's like a chick.
Whatever it was, those religious tracks. Who's that guy? Chick Davis or Chick?
The chicks are famous religious tracks. This is patterned after that. In
the style of a religious track, but it's about having parts of your body cut off and replaced by prosthetics.
Right. This is Donn Davis.
Donn Davis.
And I don't know if this is for everybody or not. I don't know, but we'll put Donn Davis's information down below. It's very well drawn. The cartooning is excellent.
Yeah, we like Don's cartoony style.
Yeah,
cartooning style is terrific.
Really good. Really good.
You see, when you see panels with, you know, I'm sorry, but don't.
Well,
you don't look
talking about people that do it on purpose.
Body parts.
To get a prosthetic, they cut their own limbs off I don't know.
So it's clearly tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, I guess.
But
anyway, that's what it is.
so I have to recommend Don's artwork. I recommend
Yes.
his writing.
Excellent artwork.
Comics, always interesting.
Yep. And
This
we will
one's
have
a
his
little
contact
weird.
information below, of course, where you can send for one of these.
But Don, we still love you. We still love you. I mean, it's a little weird, but we still love you. So
Yeah.
keep sending us your comics.
Yeah. So we are running out of time here because we are limited and we have the free version of Zoom and it runs out of time.
Yeah. So we've still got so much time. So I'm going to do about 5 or 10 more songs.
Yeah. We'll record those and put them on later.
Oh, maybe next time.
Yeah.
I'm very out of
But
practice.
now, next time we got two more Zombie Daves next time
We do.
already. Plus whatever else falls out of the sky and lands
There's
in our
other stuff.
mailboxes.
And on my other channel, Steve Keeter, the Classic Comics Man, not only am I gathering these videos, I'm making copies. Like I just posted on that channel episodes 21, 22, and 23 all in one video. It's kind of a backup, and I'm doing it pretty much myself just to save it for myself. If you guys want to check out the earlier episodes, you can do that, or you can check them out here on Larned's channel.
Yep.
And I'm also going to be reviewing some of Larned's comics he sent me that we're not reviewing here. So there's going to be new stuff too. And
It will be on your
video
channel.
coming
That's
up
great.
very shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got one from you just recently.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's in disarray, unfortunately, but it's the funniest thing I ever read in my entire life.
Oh, well.
So this
Look
guy
at
over
our
here is a
channel and people have
creative
something to
genius.
look forward to.
So yeah, so in between episodes of this, you can find other episodes on that channel.
Yeah, and we've got some other announcements coming soon. Stay tuned. We got some things we want to talk about with our viewers, and we'll do that at another time. But I want to thank everybody for watching. Our views are going up, and that's just great. We enjoy doing this. We're having a blast.
Did you want to mention anything else?
Not right now, but we will do that another time.
Okay.
Okay.
We got other stuff in the works.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you know when we are on and coming on, and you won't miss any episodes. And if you do miss them, go over to Steve's channel. He's got them over there.
Yeah, I'm backing them up over there.
He's
So
backing them up. So you got a lot of us, whether you like it or not. All right. We will see you next time.
adios.